Molly,
Yes.
what is one thing you know is fact about prison life?
The blue beds are rubbish.
They are.
They are awful.
They are indeed. And it can get really boring sometimes.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, full stop. Welcome back to Life After Prison with just Jules today. Joining me in the studio, though, is Molly Ellis. Her life changed after a family tragedy in 2017. In the aftermath, she became involved in fraudulent activities leading to a 5-year prison sentence. Just weeks before starting her sentence, she gave birth to her second daughter and chose to raise her newborn behind bars. Since her release in 2020, Molly has dedicated herself to helping others rebuild their lives through her own organisation, Project Accountability. Hello, Molly.
Hey.
Welcome to the Life After Prison couch.
Thank you for having me. Long time no see.
I know. How are you feeling?
Really, really well. Thank you. And yourself?
Good. Yeah, I am good. It has been a while. My producer was asking me before, how long has it been since you saw Molly? And I have no idea.
Now?
No, so it must be 5 years?
Coming up to 5 years. So January.
It's wild because it does not feel that long. Do you remember how we met?
No. Did we meet in Bronzefield?
No.
Downview?
We met in East Sutton
Park.
So obviously we met inside prison.
Yes.
Met inside East Sutton Park. But I don't know actually how I met you. And now I'm thinking I do. Because it must have been in the gym.
Yeah, it would have been in the gym.
And I remember walking in and you were already...
You was gym orderly.
No, you were gym orderly.
You took my space after that.
I took your space.
Yes.
I took your space.
Yes.
However, there was a transition period.
There was a transition.
Where you were...
I went out to work.
Why did you stop going to the... Why did you stop being gym orderly? Because you were going to work?
Yes. I went out to work. So you came after me, didn't you?
So you went out to work. There was another gym orderly. And obviously PEI, Neil.
Yes.
Who would big him up all day.
Love Neil. Big up Neil.
Do you remember? And we used to train. And
actually, we didn't just used to train, Jules. We used to be we used to have things on our back. We used to be running up hills and we used to train hard.
I know, by the pigs.
Yes, and I remember those pull-ups of yours.
No, this is what I was going to say. Do you remember when we were training as a 4 and the other gym orderly and Neil used to be just like, they were fit, right? And
we were dying.
I remember looking at the pull-up bar with you. And we both looked at it and went, do you remember? Wait, it was a session where they were doing jump pull-ups in the session. And me and you were like doing the session. And
we had a band, right? In that process. Don't you remember? We started off with a band to help us up.
Yes. But I remember doing a pull-up in the end. But
yeah, you was good.
That was like...
I don't even think I ever got to that point, to be fair.
You didn't. I don't think you did, but we both looked at this pull-up bar going, no, we're not doing that. We'll just do the rest of the workout.
Those were the days.
And obviously you've done a lot since then. But let's take it back to being inside. How did you end up going to prison and what kind of led you there?
So my life kind of took a wrong turning probably around 16, 17. I mean, look, I did struggle with some hormonal issues before then, but I think when my life really took a turn was when we was attacked on a train. We was attacked on a train by 22 people. At the time, I was pregnant with my firstborn. And then after that, I guess that's when Michael then went into a coma, who is the father of my child. And I think then is when I kind of went downhill.
I mean, being attacked on a train, how old were you?
Just turned 17.
17. And then your partner goes into a coma. Mm-hmm. You're pregnant. This is just a bit wild. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot to handle.
I mean, I'm smiling now, but it wasn't funny. It was probably one of the hardest points of my life, actually.
Were you scared at that time?
I think when you go through something as a person, at that time, you're so tunnel vision to what's going on around you. I think when I came out of my healing process, which was a lot later down the line, I kind of then understood it. And then when I look back now, I was like, and I look at my daughter now, who's 15, turning 16 in June. And I think I was your age when I was pregnant with you. And I think that's now when it hits me. That's when it hits me, because I think you was just a child. And at that point of my life, it was chaos. It was real chaos. And it wasn't just chaos around me, it was chaos around my family. It was chaos around the situation that had happened with Michael. So it wasn't just a case of I was dealing with one part of the problem, which was Michael. I was dealing with a newborn baby. I was dealing with people just even trying to pull me down when I was going through the worst point in my life. Narratives, hospitals that had sent him home with brain damage. So that then started a legal process. So then I was in the hospital for maybe 6 months with them trying to turn off Michael's life support machine. So when you really think about that, going back now, I don't even know how I operated in that chaos. Like, I think something overcomes, like takes over your body at that point and you're just pushing through the pain.
So you had your first child through this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously dealing with Michael. So what kind of happened after that? How did things pan out?
So he became stable. They took him off the life support machine and he then went to a special rehabilitation home. So he wasn't going to get better. He had brain damage. So that means that his brain wasn't going to be able to get any better. There's no cure for it. So he kind of went into a stable condition, and then it was kind of, right, we've just got to get on with the next part of my life, which was motherhood. I'll be so transparent on this because I think mums get it a lot, and single mums get a lot of discrimination against them. I think it's so easy to judge someone that's going through that process of being a bad mum, and I got all of that stigma against me. But I think looking back now, older and wiser, I was actually really proud of myself now, because even the fact I'm here standing and surviving and going back to the community now to work with gangs that actually took my family right away from me, it's really challenging, and you have to just be able to see why people commit those crimes. Like, why do people act out in such anger? Are people even aware of what repercussions that it has on other people? You know, it's hard. It's hard. And you grow up in an environment where that's all you know, right? And that's why my program now and what we do is so important to me, because working with young people to prevent them to be able to go into a more positive way than rather just staying on that line of their being in their environment. Why I work so hard with it.
Well, we're definitely going to come on to what you do. We're going to dive right into that. Okay. Because, yeah, you can hear and see why you do what you do and the passion where it comes from. So at this stage, what's your thoughts? Like, how do you see, you know, your life panning out now? Your mother, you know, you're dealing with Michael. What's next?
I'll be honest, I went totally off rails. So I think...
Is this where the lead up to prison comes in?
Definitely, yeah. So I think when I go back now and look at it from a healed perspective, what I think that for me that it was, being open and honest, is I had abandonment issues. So I was constantly looking for love and loyalty in the wrong places. So growing up, I didn't really have much of a relationship with my mum and dad. Not to say they didn't try hard their best, because they did, but I just didn't have that relationship. And I think now that was a generational thing. I think a lot of my parents from our generations, they was at work all the time. A lot of us grew up with our nan and granddads. But before, I held that and I was really angry about that. And I just had these abandonment. I've always felt abandoned, like no one really cared. And I think that was then where I was trying to find that in the wrong places. So I never came from like that much of a background. Like, yes, I probably knew some criminals, but not into the intents that I was about to step into. And I just fell in love with the wrong person, I think. And that then opened my eyes to other stuff. And Jules, look, I'll be honest, like when I look back now, I think, why did you do all of them things, Molly? Like, you could have gone and asked anyone for help. Like, you wasn't stupid, you was intelligent.
But that's a question we all ask ourselves when we find ourselves, especially when we're young, and we find ourselves in these situations. We think, oh, why didn't we just do it like that? Why didn't we just do it like that? but we don't think like that at the time.
But it's important because it's your environment. And that's what I'm learning now. It's like my environment now is very small, but I have people around me now, and it hasn't always been like that. It's been trials and tribulations, but people around me now wouldn't let me get to that.
You wouldn't be where you are with the wrong people around you.
No.
You just wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, I've got through a few. I have got through a few. There's been some people that have come along the journey in a negative way as well. So, but I think that's building something, isn't it? You're going to find the right people and the right team
of course
in that process.
So what did you actually go to prison for, and how long was your sentence?
So I went to prison for money laundering and fraud. I was served a 5-year sentence and I did 2.5 years.
And at that point of you being sentenced now, so, you've gone down this path, which you didn't really plan to go down. A lot of trauma has already happened, which you probably hadn't healed from yet.
No.
Where's your head at now? What are you thinking?
So previously, I think I had like 3 trials. So it was a long 2 years being on the stand. And at the time I was in this relationship, which wasn't great either. So it was a crazy time. Like, honestly, chaos was just my name. It was, I can't explain it, Jules. It was just really chaotic. It wasn't calm at all.
So what you actually went to prison for, was that unexpected for you?
I mean, probably not.
Okay.
Not unexpected, because I knew what I was involved in. Let's not be silly. I'm not one of these people that say, it wasn't me that did it, because it definitely was. And I've been punished for it. And, I've learned from it massively. But in that process, did I even financially benefit like that? No. So what was I doing it for? And I think that for me is where I really had to dig deep and find out now, why did I take those wrong turns? Because again, when we come onto it later, that's how we built the program around my USP of my life, because I feel like I was literally up and down everywhere.
And if I remember correctly, at this time you were pregnant again, right? So you have a second child on the way. I mean, how does that feel?
It's one of them moments where it's just fight or flight, Jules. I'll be totally honest, because I remember having the baby and then I knew I had the court case coming up 2 weeks later, and I just thought, damn, everyone was saying to me, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And I was like, you knew in your gut, I'm not going to be all right. I know I'm going. And to be honest, the relationship that I was in, I believe there was a purpose for me going anyway. I don't know whether you're spiritual, anyone's spiritual, but now I believe that every part of my journey is what led me up to today.
So when did you actually have your baby? It was before you went to prison?
Yes. So I had her just before, maybe around, I think she was a month old when I went to prison. And that's when she came in with me.
So you made this decision to have your baby with you for how long?
She stayed with me to around 7 or 8 months.
Okay. How is mum prison life? What was that like?
I mean, it wasn't an easy decision to make.
And what prison was this in?
Bronzefield.
So they had mother and baby unit in Bronzefield.
Yeah.
They don't have that many prisons, am I correct? Did you have to ask to go there, or?
Yeah, well, I have got a funny story about that. So I was obviously in Bronzefield first of all, and I remember arriving there, and I remember the first day going in there, and they gave me the breakfast. So I bet you remember this, and it was like this bit of bread, margarine, and an egg. The egg was like grey inside. The bread you could do damage with because it was so hard. And I remember just looking around, and you have to have breakfast on this big round table on A wing. And I just remember looking around, and I just cried into my bread and my egg. And I thought, what am I going to do? Like, the only thought that was going through my mind was my baby. Like, she was a newborn, Jules. And when you have kids, you'll know what I mean. Like, it's crazy pain. Like, not like pain that I'd ever endured before. Like, a level of someone's taking something from you and you cannot do anything.
So why didn't they let you have your baby in with you when you went in?
I didn't even know it was an option.
So you only realised that when you were inside prison?
Yeah. So somebody came to me.
Oh, this is wild.
Yeah. But, you know, having her, that was the process. So it was Joe and Tracy that came up to me. They brought me upstairs and was like, look, you can't cry in prison. Don't do that because you're showing your weaknesses. And I was like, my baby. And it was actually Joe that said to me, look, there's a mother and baby unit. I think you should consider it. And I was totally against it. I remember calling my mum and being like, look, there's this option. And my mum was like, look, I think it's a good option. I think you should go for it. And I was thinking, why is she saying that? But now looking back, I know why she was saying that. And when I had Ava the first time around, because of everything that was going on the mix with her dad, the hospital, the trauma, it was like I got to a place where I was so hurt and so in pain. I never wanted to love anyone again. And that was my thought process, honestly and genuinely. It was like, I don't want to love anything anymore. That's it. Because at any point, it can be taken away from you because death's guaranteed in life. So I kind of had this real bad mindset of just shutting down. Like, I don't want to know anyone. And that really took a toll on me and my first daughter's relationship. And I think I'm still fighting for that now. Like, it's not something that's been easy at all. Like, it's hard. It's been hard. This is long-term effects that it's had on my kids' life forever. And it's been hard, Jules. It has been hard.
So your second daughter, how old is she now?
8.
She's 8. How long did you have her then inside?
7 to 8 months.
So 7 to 8 months you had her, and then you had to give her away again? They only allow you certain time, is that correct?
Yeah, so you're allowed to keep them, but you're allowed to go up to an extended time for 12 months. But once she started walking and clinging onto the bars, it was like, yeah, it's time for her to go. Because I just needed to have that bond. She needed to smell me and I needed to smell her. And that was the idea of bringing her in. It was never going to be for long term.
Yeah.
It's not the suitable place. I guess if you have to, you have to. But for me, I made that decision of when she started to understand and be able to talk, I don't think it's the place for her. So, yeah, I chose to send her back out.
Have you told her she was growing up in prison?
I mean, she definitely knows because she comes on all my meetings with me when we do the board meetings.
So
like she comes in and she does everything with me. So she understands what I do for a job now. And she hears things around it. But for her, I guess it's just normal. Like, I'm a mum and that's it. Like, our relationship now is just...
That's so special.
It's so tight, Jules. It's so tight.
I'm so glad you had her in. Just you saying the part of like, she needed to smell you, you need to smell her. That's like, that's so emotional, isn't it?
Don't make me cry. We said we're going to do that today.
I went there. So my next part that I wanted to ask you is, did you have other mums around you that supported you at this time? Like other prisoners going through this? Or did you feel quite alone in that moment?
No, I was alone, man. Really? And I tell you why I was. It was like, girls are girls, right? And this is why now, like with our stuff that we do, it's all about bringing people up. And I think, I don't know why girls, not all girls, but I don't think girls stick together enough. And I think we need to start pushing that narrative out. We don't bring each other up enough. Like, there's so many amazing women out there now that are doing great things. And I've met so many. Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right. I think there's a sense of community vibe in there sometimes when girls come together, but it's not really there enough, is it?
Jules, I remember you in there. Like, you was just like, yeah, smile at everyone, but yeah, you're not my friend. Like,
I
you knew how it was. It's like...
Molly, I was good at that stage. That was the end of my sentence. You should have seen me at the start. Really? I was like...
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. No one talk to me.
No.
I'll let a couple people talk to me.
And that's how we was though, really. There was only a few of us that kind of was
but I actually envied, like, not envy, is envy the right word? I loved how you were social butterfly in a sense. Do you know what I mean? You had the guard, but like, you spoke, you chatted to people, you were that kind of person, which is what I'm like. But inside it took it all of that got taken away. So when I met people like you who brought it out of me a bit, we
had some funny times.
We had some great times. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And you know, more of that would have been it is needed, and especially for women. You are so right. We should be there to pick each other up. So your sentence, and I knew you at the kind of end of your sentence. What was it like for you at the end of your sentence? Because I knew you from the gym. Kind of where was your road heading towards the end of your sentence, and what did you have planned?
I think when I got to the point of, right, my daughter's gone home, it was like, I've got two options. I can be everything everyone says I am, or I can change. And that really lays within yourself. And I'm not saying that's easy, because it's definitely not. It's not as easy as how I've just said it. But I think just having something to focus on, my driving license was one of them. I did that at East Sutton Park. Don't you remember? You were standing at the door with me when I came running in. I've passed.
I mean, that's incredible for somebody inside to be able to do their driving license. So how long into your sentence did you go to East Sutton Park?
So after Isla went home, I then probably had about a month, and then I went straight over to open conditions.
And you did your driving license?
I did my driving license.
What did you do with the driving? When you passed, then what?
So I went to a careers fair, and Rentokil Initial were there. And there was this guy, God love him, I'll never forget this guy because he gave me my first opportunity, Toby Ellis. Big up, Toby.
Same surname.
Oh, yeah. That's coincidence, by the way. That's not marriage or anything. So he came into the prison on a careers day, and he was coming in with Rentokil, and he was like doing this big careers event. I went over to the visits hall, and I went and saw everyone, and then I came up to Toby, and he was like, oh, you know,
I remember these days.
Yeah. He said, I think he worked for Ambius at the time, but it was Rentokil that was in there. And then he said to me, I got speaking to him, and I was like, it's like, I don't know if I can pick up rats. Like, this is just not for me. But getting out was just, you know what we was like, Jules? We was like, just get out of that door. We needed to get out of the prison. So taking any job at that point was anything. And I remember him saying to me, no, not rats, sales. And I thought, yeah, sales, I'll give that a go. Like, I will be good at that. And he was like, but you need a driving license. I was like, damn. I was like, I'm going to have to take that Timpson job. So I took the Max Spillman job, and he was like, look, I believe in you. I'm going to wait for you. And then he emailed the governor of the prison. And then he came to me, and he was like, you know, you've got this email. Like, they want to, this is your time now to go away, do your driving. I was like, okay, let me take the job at Max Spillman, because that means I'm out every day. I'm earning a bit of money to save up for when I get home. And that was kind of how I did it. And then I was just knocking on Activity's door every single day saying, I need my driving, I need my driving, I need my driving. You know what I was like in that. I was always like eager beaver. I needed to get stuff done. So that was it. I started doing my driving test. I think I was doing it for like 2 months. Boom, passed.
And then got a job at Rentokil.
Yeah.
So now you were doing outwork for Rentokil. How was that? What were you doing?
I was an area sales manager, so
whilst in prison.
Yeah,
it sounds crazy, doesn't it?
They didn't like that, did they? Do you remember that?
What, saying that they
didn't like that.
They didn't really like.
I was earning some good money at the time,
but they didn't really like any job that was. Do you remember how hard it was for us to get into the gym?
It's still like that now, Jules. I'll be totally honest. Like,
yeah.
It's still like that.
I mean, I'm all for how like pushing other jobs, because I remember them saying, you know, Timpson, Sainsbury's, etc. And I was in the gym with Neil thinking, no way.
You had to find your own at David Lloyd. I remember you doing it.
Eventually, but they weren't going to give. Remember, that was the other gym orderlies doing, really. It wasn't me. So yeah, I know how hard that was. And seeing you doing so well, they're probably thinking,
I think it was because I got on with the governor as well, didn't I? He kind of like, so he allowed me to do my
really
rottles to see Michael for a special allocation rottle whilst I was in prison. So I was still able to go and see Michael, because obviously 15 years on, he's still in the same situation I left him in. So in prison, I was his only next to kin. So they allowed me to still maintain that relationship with him.
That's such a toll as well, though, isn't it? You've got your daughter outside. You've got 2 daughters outside. You've got Michael. You're trying to survive prison and thrive. That's
Madness.
A lot. What kind of responsibility is that with Michael? And you're saying that's still going on now.
So look, I'll always be there for him. So that's my life. Like, I think when I did the therapy, that's what I did at East Sutton Park. So the governor actually said to me, look, Molly, I really think it's important that you do some therapy. And I was always anti-therapy. until I did therapy. And then I was like, that's what saved my life. Because look, it's so complicated, because losing someone to how I lost him, when someone doesn't die and they're still alive, but they're not the same person, how do you grieve? I still ask the psychiatrist that now. Like or the therapist, like, how do you grieve for that? Like, what's the process? Do you say goodbye? Do you say hello to the new person? I'm still working it out. But I think in my mind, acceptance is real, right? Acceptance is a real thing. We had to accept our sentence. I had to accept Michael. And I think what therapy showed me was acceptance. I can't change. So I can either stay in that negative mindset, or I can help other people never have to go through what I went through. And there's only two options with that, right? You either live a horrible life or you try and live a better life. And I think for me, I've lived that horrible life. Like, you see now, it's just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jules. I have my bad days still. I'm a normal human being. But for me now, I just want to love. Like, I genuinely just want to love, and I want to give love out. And the way that the community is right now and the things I see on a day-to-day basis, there's no love. Like, you could give someone a cuddle and that could make their day, because they haven't been cuddled for like 10
this
years.
Is so special to hear, because earlier in the podcast, you were talking about how you didn't want to give any love and you didn't want to love again, ever again. And how you want to do is
I'm
love.
healed, baby.
That is so talk us a little bit more about therapy, what that's done for you.
So I did a therapy where it takes you back in time. So it will take you back in time to relive the events that created the trauma in the first place. So when you go through a trauma, it stays in a certain part of your brain that then, I guess, irritates your other parts of the brain. So you're constantly living in chaos or up and down mood swings and stuff like that. So the therapy was to go back in time, relive the attack, which is why I had to kneel. I was doing the gym after, because the therapy was quite intensive. We went back in time and I literally relived the attack over and over and over again until one bit of my story didn't change. And that's when you know it's been processed. But it's really an in-depth process. So I just remember going through that therapy, and it took me quite a while to even get into that mind where you can actually shut off, close your eyes, and actually get to that point where you're reliving it again. You can smell the smells that was around you. It was the strangest thing. But I'd actually recommend it to a lot of people, because that's what changed my life. That's what showed me acceptance. And then that's what showed me, instead of being angry at those people that did that on the train, let's be honest, Jules, they were 15. Like, yes, it was wrong, but looking back now, it's like, did they probably know what they were going to cause? Probably not, because they'll probably have their own stories. Not to say that some people don't do things, but one thing that I've learned is when I've worked with any type of gangs or anything like that, you'll get one leader, the rest are followers. So if you trying to work on that leader, all his followers are going to follow him. So I think for me, a big part of my therapy was accepting life for what it was. And we can either be a product of the environment that they're creating for us, or we can thrive to do better. And I think for me, it was either that or what?
I mean, that is an intense therapy as well, you know, as well as going back to prison, which is a lot. You've dealt with a lot, Molly. How long did that therapy take?
I think it was around 8 months. It was intense.
Wow. And when you say it healed you, your life changed after that. Can you talk us through a little bit more about what you mean?
I mean, I learned how to accept. So after I did the therapy, I went back to Michael and I could smile with him. I could joke with him. I could just lay on the bed and watch a film with him.
Oh.
Like, I could do all of those things. But before, I used to go and see him, and then the next 3 days I would be mental breakdown. But no one knew that. So I kept it all to myself. And everyone can, you know, look, people like me or don't like me. I'm very much like that, Jules. But that's the truth. And in that time, I just felt like so many people would judge me or, you know, talk bad about me. It's like, bro, have you even lived how I've lived? Like, you tried doing all of this. Like, I know it was a lot that was brought onto me as well at the same time, but don't judge someone unless you know them. It's really important.
So whilst you've done your therapy and you're still at Rentokil right now.
Yes.
Was this the road you were on release, or what did your release look like?
So because I worked for Rentokil and I did really well, so I was coming out in January 2020, and in December I'd got all of my commission for the whole year. So that basically set me up. So in December I got a flat. I got rottled to my flat for the last month.
Well done.
I know.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not easy, people.
It wasn't
Take
easy.
Notes.
Literally, get the pads out because you have to get home. And that was kind of it. I kind of came out and I just stuck to the routine that I was on. Maybe a year later down the line, I was headhunted by their competitor, PHS. Went to work for PHS. Worked with a great team over there, Steve.
What's PHS?
It was selling interior plants to big corporate offices.
So still in the sales?
Yep, still in sales. Ops. And I did well there. I worked with a great team there that kind of, actually, they probably don't even know what they did for me, because I remember getting there and I had a big breakdown and I was like, oh, this is too much for me. Like, that's what I mean. It's been a journey of up and downs. It hasn't just been straight. I would be lying if it is, but if I said that. But even how they supported me and just nurtured me. And I was like, I'm actually meeting some nice people in life. Like, but before I hadn't met any nice people. Or was that because I was choosing not to meet nice people? And I was just hanging around the environment that I was used to. So I worked for PHS, had a successful career there. And then I went over to Nurture Landscapes. I got contacted by them to come and join their team, which was another competitor. So same industry. And then I went over there. But when I went there, I just thought, no, I'm kind of done with this now. So I went back to a prison. And then I remember sitting down, speaking to the girls in there. And they was just saying to me, no, Molly, it's just, you know what this place is like we can't get out. It's got even worse. You know, we need help. Like, and you know how it is, Jules. Like, we won't air it out on here, but I felt it. I felt it in my heart for them. I could see it in their eyes. And I thought, no, man, I need to do something about this. So I did.
So
literally like that.
Well, then tell us exactly what you're up to now.
So we started Project Accountability probably around April last year. And I have been working like 15-hour days for maybe most of the year with a good team behind me, because it's not just me. And we've just done well, actually. But do you know what it is? I try and not like boast about it and stuff like that, because generally I actually just feel it's my purpose. Like, I feel like I need to give back because people have done it with me. I wouldn't be here today. Who knows where I would have been? I could have just sunk if the people didn't lift me up. So I just thought, we came up with this idea. It was basically a USP of what I had gone through. So on a 3-tier program, which focused on lived experience mentoring. If I didn't have my mentor, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Trauma competency. Everyone talks about trauma informed, but where do we talk about trauma competency?
What can you talk to me about?
Being competent about trauma, being aware of what it is.
Okay.
Understanding what trauma is.
Before the trauma.
So
or
trauma
actually after
competency is actually, like, for myself, if we rewind it back a little bit, when I was going through that time where I was in a complete chaos, I wasn't able to see straight. But if I sat down with a trauma team, I would have realised I was in a traumatic time. So I would have been able to start therapy a longer time ago because I would have been aware. But we're not really aware now of what trauma is. Mm-hmm. Like, the kids that I meet now that are involved in knife crime or something like that, they don't even realise their lives have been trauma since they came out of the womb. Mm. And they're not aware of it. They just know that for their environment. And I knew that as my environment in my head. So for me, focusing on lived experience to teach you about your traumas and to get you out of it, and then to get you work readiness, because you're not ready for work unless you've dealt with the trauma. So everyone's got these great programs that are like 6 weeks long. Who engages in them? Like that are from people that have traumatic times. So like what I mean by that is the people that they say are the leaders in their communities for crime or whatnot. Do you think that they engage with these programs? Because they don't. They engage with people that they respect. They engage with people that they see as the same as them. They engage with people that have come from where they've come from and they've got out. That's what I've seen. And I think for years and years and years, we've been focusing on working with people that still clearly do need help as well, and programs that do, but we don't go into the main roots of where the actual problems stem from and deal with those people. So when we created this program, I wanted to go for the leaders in the communities that were working, you know, in all different types of situations, and go in and speak to them and do some real research about, you know, how do they feel? And it was really sad because most of the people that are into this gang wars and these 15-year-olds, that they just don't think they're worth anything, Jules. It's not the fact that they don't want to change. They don't know how. They don't even know how to get out of their block that they're in. I remember taking this care leaver from Ipswich, and he came to Stratford, and his eyes when he came out at Stratford, he was like, oh, Stratford, this is amazing. And I'm thinking, do you know where you are? Like, you're in Stratford. But just seeing his face, that just goes to show to you how many kids do you think even get out of their environment that they're in to be able to know what's out there, to be able to change. They're just in their head, they think that's my life. So focusing on them two things, getting them work readiness, and then finally putting them to the recruitment is our 3-tier program. And then after that, wherever I put them into work. So I work with a lot of tier 1 and tier 2 construction companies now that we partner with. So the ones that we don't get any government money at all. We work with independent companies, tier 1, tier 2s, and they sponsor a child to come through our program.
Wow.
So it's
Well
more
done.
personal.
So what kind of work do you need to do to be able to do that? Or like find the funding? What goes into that?
So I started a recruitment agency.
Okay.
So the recruitment part was working with people that were coming out of prison, because again, like we said, there's not enough jobs out there that are actually good jobs. It's just Sainsbury's, Tesco's. And I'm not saying they're not good jobs, because they are good jobs still. But what I mean by that,
not what everyone wants to do.
It's not what everyone wants to do. And if you're going to engage the younger generation, selling, come off the streets and go and work in Sainsbury's, they will laugh at you. Let's be honest, they will.
So what kind of jobs are you able to get people into?
We're working like sales. We're working with DWPs. We can get them into there.
So whatever they want to do.
That's what we find out. So the first 6 weeks of our program is just getting to know them. So that might mean we're doing team building activities. We might go to a theme park. We might go to, so that 6 weeks is just about building them.
Really cool. How often do you see them?
Twice a week.
Okay. And then...
But you know me, I speak to them on the phone every day.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's your business, right?
I will never leave the ground. So we've hired in a director now, because...
Congratulations.
I don't want to be a director. I want to be on the ground. I want to be with them. And that's what brings my happiness back as well. Do you know that?
Well, it's why you're doing it, isn't it? To see
people
people's
get out.
emotions, to see what they need and where it comes from. So do you work with anybody? Can anyone jump on a program?
You have to be either an ex-offender or someone from an unprivileged background. The reason for that is because there's loads of other recruitment agencies. There's loads of other companies out there that focus on working with everyone. For me, my passion is to work with people coming out of prison and people in the care system. So I focus on those and the police referrals.
Okay, makes sense. And you said that, you want to, you go and find these people sometimes as well, right? So do you specifically go out and find the people you want to be on your program and help change? What's their reaction when you come up to them like, you need my program?
You're chatting rubbish. You're chatting rubbish. Or it's like...
What kind of reactions do you get?
Do you know what? They're all really nice to me, because I think I'm just it just goes to show, like someone will say, well, God, they're like being known for this, this and that. And I'm just going in, do you want a cup of tea? Cup of tea fixes everything in my eyes.
So this is Project Accountability, your own organisation.
Yes.
For everybody listening, we're going to put this in the show notes so you can check it out there. Alongside, your own organisation, what else is going on in life and anything else you want to share with us?
We are doing a knife campaign this year. I'm not going to talk about that too much because I don't know what I can talk about for that. But that's really exciting. And hopefully I'm just going to have some time off soon. We're building up a team, that a really strong team. There's some in this room today. And it's just about like enjoying that journey, I think, and just enjoying life a little bit now. For me, I've just dealt with too much pain. I'm ready to enjoy life a little bit now and be happy.
You have kind of spoken about it, but I wanted to ask you, what is your main goal that you are trying to achieve with the work that you do?
It's changed people's lives, giving them a second option to get out of the environment that they're in. So that's all I hear from people is that we haven't got any choice. We're here. The system's against us. Well, not if I give you an option, but are you ready to take that option? And that's when we see if people really want to change.
Yeah. Well, like you said before, a lot of people don't actually see that there's another option, which you're coming along and providing, which is so powerful. You said it to me earlier, but I'm going to say it to you now. Are we going to cry now?
No, we're not doing it.
We're not doing it, but I am. I'm super proud of you.
I'm super proud of you. It's come a long way, Jules. Like to even be sitting here on this sofa right now, wild. When we used to be sitting on the end of a blue bed in Amy's room. Do you remember? That's where we used to be.
Oh my gosh, you're pulling out names that I have completely forgotten about. You said two, and I completely forgotten them, and now their face.
But you know what's mad? You probably block a lot out as well. Like I blocked a lot out, and it's like only when now I've sat still in that process is when actually I'm like, well, wow.
You know what? You've really inspired me to look into different kinds of therapy because it's something that I've been on and off with in my head. Like I was very anti it.
Why?
Well, just being young. No one can help me. All of that. No one knows. How can a therapist help me? Now that's not the case. Like I'm really open to it. I think it's, it's a journey with that, finding the right person, whatever.
100%.
But also finding the right therapy. So, sometimes I'm like, I'm dealing with this, but also I'm dealing with, I've been to prison and this. It's like, who can help me? So, it's very healing to hear how healed you are. And you said it to me the other week. When you said it, I was like, wow, you really have. And it's really beautiful to see.
And this is what we need to focus on, by the way, with these young kids, because like yesterday, another 16-year-old shot.
Yeah, I heard
the other day, stabbings, 34 in January already. That's how many there's been.
It's sad.
And imagine seeing your friends in them situations. You're going to have trauma. What happens when you're in that space? You're going to attack. You're going to want to attack. Your head's not.
Well, especially if
you're angry.
Yeah, and young.
Your hormones, you're working it out. Yeah. Then you've got social media pressures where if you haven't got a Canada Goose, then you're not the guy. This is what the world's got to.
Yeah.
Like, no, just be happy. Ground yourself. Like, we need to start grounding ourselves again. Like, let's be real. Can everyone afford a Canada Goose? Like, I wouldn't even go and buy a Canada Goose now. I'm in a Zara.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Zara's
things in life.
I'm in a Zara.
I love a Zara. Big up Zara.
Big up Zara. Molly.
Yes.
What is your message that you want to put out to people listening right now?
Just keep going. Even when you don't think you're getting there or getting anywhere, just have faith and keep going.
Thank you.
You will get there in the end.
I love that. And you will.
You will.
Proof. Right here, right now. So what we love to do on Life After Prison is signpost organisations that help people when they're released from prison or inside prison. Would you like to name some organisations and share any that have helped you?
Yes. Peckham Soup Kitchen. Big up Peckham Soup Kitchen. They're trying to shut them down, but they're a great organisation. They feed 350 people a week in Peckham. Amazing team. Peabody, Birthing Companions. And I'd say I think the most people that helped me was all my tier 1 construction companies. They believed in me. They believed in my vision. There's one lady called Kerry who I met at the start of this journey, and she's been an absolute rock to me. Probably one of the most inspirational women I've met, actually, and just pure-hearted person. And I think just for the people that stuck by me in my journey, Jane, Macy, and that's it, really.
Aww.
That's it.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Also, we Project Accountability.
Project Accountability.
So all the organisations mentioned, we will put them in the show notes. So check them out there. And you mentioned Birth Companions. They are based in London and the South East, and they support pregnant women and mothers in prison. We've also put loads of other organisations in the description, so you can hear. You can see them there. But you can also hear more about Birth Companions on an episode from our sister podcast, which is Outside In, called Born Behind Bars, Mothers, Pregnancy and Prison. So Outside In is made by people who worked with National Prison Radio inside prison and are now out. So we also asked you guys, what's one thing you know is a fact about prison life? We answered earlier, but you guys said some really interesting ones. Number one, routine. Standard. That is it's given me a lot of routine, actually, to be fair. I quite like it. Always go vegan.
Oh, the chicken, the one-leg chicken leg. Do we still know why the chicken legs are a left leg?
And hairy. Oh. Do you remember the hair?
Oh, no.
It's wild behaviour, but...
No. Stick to the tuna and noodles, guys.
Yeah,
Stick to the tuna
anything
noodles.
on Canteen. Always go vegan just made me laugh so much because it's so true. If you're inside, true. Just go vegan. Might as well.
You have to recook the chicken anyway.
You
have to recook the chicken. That chicken looked anemic, didn't it? It was, every time.
But also, you probably won't know what's vegan and not vegan in there. No. 100%.
I used to have a nut roast dinner.
You one of them.
I like nut roast.
Yeah, it wasn't bad actually. Time slows down.
Yeah.
Which it does. It goes pretty slowly. I like this one. Logic never prevails. Do everything backwards.
Yeah.
You might as well do everything backwards.
Literally.
So guys, they were great. Please keep getting in touch with us when we put things on Instagram. Keep your responses coming. We absolutely love them. If you're inside, we put the number at the end of the show. So you can get in touch with us on Instagram and X, which is @AfterPrisonPod. TikTok is Life After Prison Pod, and you can email us at podcast@prison.radio. So Molly, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been incredible to have you and see you again as well. And to you all for listening, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.